he's openly or subtly hostile, that's different. You organize yourselves. You meet off campus so he can't throw you out if you're trying to meet in the parish hall. You collect names, emails, phone numbers. You dispense with the usual folderol that's involved in creating community organizations where people who live 100 meters from one another start blood feuds over who's the vice chairman and who's the executive committee secretary. You understand that there's a compelling thing, because I'll give you the flip side. If you have a pastor who is on your side, thank him, but ask him to stay out of the line of fire. This is something, the controls which a bishop has over his diocesan priests, and the controls which a Dick Lennon has exerted over priests who have dared challenge him are such. This is your struggle. Father, best you step aside.
Well, that's what he's done, but he won't let us even have a rosary in front of the church.
The sidewalk is public property. He's got F all to say on what you do on the sidewalk.
Well, are you, Peter, obviously canon law, you've been around.
No, this is civil
Yeah,
ordinances
okay,
of the city
right,
of Cleveland.
right. So
The
he has
sidewalks are public property. The steps leading up to the church are his property.
Right.
The sidewalks are public property.
Right. But even in canon law, we are allowed to dissent. Even in canon law, a priest is allowed to dissent. And that makes... No.
He's not going.
No.
But he hides behind the fact that I have taken a vow of
Right.
obedience to the bishop. I'm not allowed to do this. We can't do that in front of St.
Wait a minute, it's the last thing that I dissent on. Because I saw a case where a Monsignor was already locked and loaded to lead this thing, and then he was called into the chancery and they turned him to dust. Exert your rights under the civil laws of the state of Ohio and the ordinances of the city of Cleveland, and get 2 inches away from that property line and stand your ground. And numbers count.
Absolutely. He's ready to retire. So he wants, don't
Yeah.
rock the boat. You
That's
don't want to
right.
piss off the bishop.
That's right.
Well,
Sir?
that's what he does.
What prevented the diocese from evicting the occupiers in the occupying churches in Boston?
Right.
Nothing. Strictly speaking, and some of my attorney friends would be upset, you can make the sentimental or canonical argument that we parishioners own the church, bananas. The name of the title deed is typically the presiding bishop. He owns the property. Now, there's one of 2 things that usually happens, and New Orleans was the 3rd thing. Usually the trickiest moment is at the very beginning, when parishioners are saying, we ain't moving. At which point, the pastor, the diocese will never put itself on the line. It's always the pastor or the administrator. Will call in and ask the cops to clear it. In every case that I know of, which are the Archdiocese of Boston, the Archdiocese of New York, the Archdiocese of New Orleans, and the Diocese of Syracuse, Massachusetts. Syracuse, New York. The diocese has never pressed charges, which would be for trespassing. But the police have responded. Now, in some cases, and this is what worked in Springfield, did not work in New Orleans. There is sort of an informal network of police chiefs. So this took a hell of a lot of preparation. We had the police chiefs in the 5 cities and towns in Massachusetts, where we have ongoing vigilance, talk quietly to local police chiefs, and cop to cop, and they hear at a different frequency, so forth. In Springfield, Massachusetts, the cops said, and backed by the town fathers, this is an issue, as long as there's no threat to public safety and no disorderly conduct, let the diocese go to court and get a writ of eviction. Now, as time has passed in Boston, I don't think we'd see a midnight raid if Cardinal O'Malley woke up and said, okay, let's finish it up with these rascals. First of all, I don't think that the police departments and the mayor of Boston, Tommy Menino, and the city manager and so forth would say, okay, go in. At that point, All right, you've allowed this situation, go to court, prove you're the landlord, get a writ of eviction. At which point, this is how it went down. We thought in New Orleans that the Archbishop, Al Hughes, a legacy of Bernie law, we had Al underfoot in Boston for several years. We thought that after the initial vigils late last year, that Hughes would kind of calm down. At something like 2 o'clock in the morning in early January, Hughes got the cops to come in. The cops, by the way, did not come in with dogs and that kind of stuff. They came in all cases that I know about, respectfully and said, look, it's time to go, we have to uphold the law. A few people chose to be arrested. And so then you had the footage of Catholics in handcuffs being pulled out of their church. To my knowledge, Jason, charges were never pressed in those cases. By the way, Civil Law 101, it is not up to the archdiocese who's been trespassed upon to decide whether to press charges. It is up to the DA. And I'll give you one other genuine war story out of New York City. A group of women, Hispanics, occupied Our Lady Queen of Angels in East Harlem. I can't use the word cardinal for this guy's name. Edward Eden, former archbishop. Waited for a couple of days, and then the midnight raid was on. The cops came in. Some people chose to leave. 6 wonderful Hispanic women said, no, you want us to go up, put on the bracelets, take us out. I got this after the fact. This was in February of 08, or 07, excuse me, time pass. Somebody senior in the Archdiocese of New York called Bob Morgenthau, who's 89, 90 years old. He's been the district attorney of Manhattan forever. Now, legend has it was Egan. I can't prove that. Maybe it was one of his henchmen. And said, I want those people taken all the way down to Lower Manhattan to the Tombs and booked overnight with the drug dealers and the muggers and all of this kind of stuff. Bob Morgenthau, a devout Jew, said, I am not going to do this to believing Catholics. Good night. So, Catholics got a break, not from a prince of the church, but a princely human being, Bob Morgenthau. Sir?